100 people in one day, while cases on a cruise ship off Japan almost double. Workers are cleaning blood-stained streets at a mall in northern Thailand after a soldier carried out the worst mass shooting in the country's history over the weekend.
Nobody deserves to go through that.
Developing news, 2 police officers have been shot at a Walmart in Arkansas. And here at home, Hawaii lawmakers are exploring the controversial Stand Your Ground law. Plus,
we never imagined this to ever happen. We are so happy.
I'm Chris Martinez on the Oscars red carpet. I'll tell you who took home Hollywood Gold at the Academy Awards.
These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching This Is Now. I'm Jonathan alongside Ashley here. We're going to start the day off with some breaking news out of Arkansas.
Officials say a gunman is dead and 2 police officers are injured after a shooting at a Walmart. The incident took place this morning in Forest City, which is about 45 miles west of Memphis, Tennessee. Police say one of the officers was taken to the hospital where he was in surgery and that the initial prognosis is that he's going to be okay. The mayor of Forest City says no civilians were hurt due to the officer's quick action. Authorities say the suspect was known to police.
All right, we have more gun violence to talk about today. This out of Thailand. This story just devastating. It was a big headline this weekend.
Right, residents continue to mourn after the country's worst mass shooting in history. A gunman opened fire at a shopping mall over the weekend, killing 29 people and injuring dozens more. Gwen Baumgartner reports.
Volunteers helped clean bloodstains off the street, while others came to pay their respects, just feet from the mall in Thailand where a gunman opened fire on Saturday. This witness says, "I can still hear the sound of gunshots in my head and I can't sleep at night." Shoppers ran for cover outside the shopping center. Inside, a gunman went on a rampage, killing at least 29 people and injuring more than 50 others. At a local morgue, a father broke down in tears after confirming his son was one of the victims. Authorities identified the shooter as Sergeant Major Chaco Pantoma. Police say the soldier gunned down his commanding officer at a military base before driving to the mall armed with an assault rifle and combat gear. He live-streamed parts of the attack and even posted selfies on social media before security forces shot and killed him. People are struggling to make sense of the gun violence, which is rare in Thailand.
The whole family, the parents and the little girl, those are just innocent life.
Hospitals have started returning bodies back to the families. The country remains in a state of mourning, with vigils and funerals planned in the coming days. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, London.
All right, with the recent surge in violent crimes here at home, lawmakers here are looking for ways to better protect the public. Ashley's going to join us here in the studio with more on that. She filed this story yesterday. Let's see her report.
Many states have enacted stand your ground laws, which say when threatened, a person does not have to retreat from the situation before using deadly force. The proposal here would only apply at a person's property or business. The bill's introducer says residents have the right to protect themselves without fear of being arrested.
They have a gun, they want to steal things from me or maybe harm me, and I end up having to use deadly force to protect myself. I'm going to get arrested. And so will anybody else. And to me, that's just wrong. That's totally backwards.
State Representative Sean Quinlan says many residents don't feel safe in their own homes after a wave of violent crimes. He believes Honolulu police are doing the best they can, but with the department short hundreds of officers, he says the public needs more protection.
If we don't have enough police officers, that suggests to me that we need to start defending ourselves. My mother, who is not a large person, recently purchased a handgun to defend herself because there have been so many break-ins, including her own home.
Under the current law, residents are already allowed to use deadly force if a situation occurs inside the walls of their own home. But Quinlan's bill would expand it to the entire property. Back in October, Eva resident Lu Jiang was arrested after police say he shot and killed a man who came onto his property with a knife. Sources say the suspect did not comply with Jiang's order to leave. The creator of Stolen Stuff Hawaii says the law needs to change.
You should be able to defend your home no matter where you're at, whether you're in your kitchen or you're out on your front porch.
Critics of stand your ground laws worry the proposal encourages more violence and say it's based on how threatened a person feels versus how threatened they actually are. But supporters believe a change in the law like this would make criminals think twice.
Knowing the fact that I don't have to be inside my home, I don't have to run away from you, I have a right to stand my ground on my property, that is a huge deterrent, I would think, to anybody.
There's been a lot of talk about this on social media after we posted that story, lots of discussion. The bill actually has been referred to the Judiciary Committee, but it has not been given a hearing yet. So the committee has to bring it up in order for people to actually talk about it.
Just another one of those that we'll be tracking throughout the ledge season. All right, did you get woken up last night?
No.
Oh, I didn't.
John,
yeah.
you know I sleep like a rock. What happened?
No, it was just the
the
wind.
wind?
It
Oh.
looked like a tropical storm outside.
Oh,
you know
no.
that unsettled weather has triggered some road closures, power outages. We got Lacey Denise tracking all of that for us. She has a wrap up.
Heavy rain and strong winds kept first responders across the state busy overnight. Happening right now in Oahu, Hawaiian Electric is working to restore power for about 1,500 customers in the Mililani Tech Park area. And in Wahiawa, the Botanical Garden is closed until this afternoon, so crews can clean up the damage caused by last night's strong wind and rain. On the North Shore, both directions of Kamehameha Highway near Waiale'e Beach Park are now open after a tree fell across the roadway. The closure forced some drivers to go around the island to get home. On Hawaii Island, Highway 11 near the 62-mile marker in Ka'u has been reopened after a downed tree shut down both directions of the highway for several hours. And on Kauai, the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative says high winds caused multiple outages across the Garden Island. Kauai County's Department of Water reported that the disruption affected service to its water pump station and even the well site in Kilauea. The agency is asking customers to limit water usage to essential needs only.
All right, thanks Lacey for that wrap up. We're taking a live look outside. This is from a video feed coming into our station here at the H&N Digital Center. It is 11:18 in the morning. I just checked the temperature. Any guesses?
74.
Oh, you would not win the Price is Right because you went over. It's 72 out there. A little chilly for us.
I love it.
It was a chilly weekend too. I saw your Instagram photos. You were bundled up on the beach there.
That was
Ashley.
a dumb idea.
It looked fun. You had fun. You know, gotta get out to the beach sometime. All right, Billy's in for a guy today. Let's get a check of what exactly we can expect for the rest of the day. Here's Billy.
Thank you very much. I'm Billy B sitting in for Guy Hoggy on this Aloha Monday. We're recording this about 9 a.m. Let's give you a kind of an idea of what your forecast is going to be like. First of all, we've got two areas of energy that are right here and right here. So up to the north, and this one will move down amongst the islands. This one already coming down. And as we put this into motion, you can see starting at 6 o'clock tonight, you see that energy that's continuing to hit the Hawaiian Islands. So you got that there. Then you got this swinging around here. So you've got currents that are kind of going all over the place. And so it's making for inconsistent surf. Not only that, but we've also got the strong wind. So that's kind of also messing up the conditions. How big is the surf going to get? 18 to 28 up on the North Shore, 12 to 20 on the west side. High surf warnings in effect for both of these areas. Plus, we had a flood advisory earlier. There's the possibility that those rain showers could continue. Let's get into the rain and wind and rain trend model here. You can see that we've got low pressure here. That's kind of circulating counterclockwise. High pressure and the trade winds gone for the moment. So that's bringing us northerly winds, northerly showers that are hitting the islands as it slowly moves, and it's not really going to move away until Wednesday. So we'll continue to get this counterclockwise circular activity with the rain and the showers. Then finally Wednesday, it starts to move away and give us a little bit clearer conditions. And then once we get towards the weekend, we get the trade winds back. So just kind of keeping in mind, 7-day forecast, you've got those northwesterly winds today, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Daytime high near 76, overnight low near 66. And there's the rest of the forecast across the board. As always, get the latest on air, online, on the mobile app, and at hawaiinewsnow.com.
Thank you, Billy. Now to the latest on the coronavirus outbreak. There was a rise in new cases in China, and the virus is now blamed for more than 900 deaths, including one American. More than 40,000 people have been affected, and the situation on a cruise ship off Japan is also getting worse, with more than 130 confirmed cases, including 24 Americans. Here's Deborah Alfarone.
China's President Xi Jinping toured the streets of Beijing wearing a protective face mask Monday, amid word that the number of new cases in China jumped again after a few days of decline. The death toll is now larger than the SARS epidemic in 2002 and 2003. The outbreak aboard a cruise ship in Japan is getting worse. More than 60 additional cases have been found, bringing the number of confirmed cases to 130, including about 24 Americans.
All I had experienced.
Rebecca Frazier of Oregon was taken off the ship and separated from her husband after she tested positive.
It was a very surreal experience to be told that you have this virus that, as far as I knew, could be deadly at that point, although I didn't feel sick at all.
With 12 confirmed cases of coronavirus here in the United States, the Trump administration said it expects to spend up to $66 million in its initial response to the outbreak. There's a bit of good news in Hong Kong. More than 3,600 people aboard the World Dream cruise ship were allowed to leave after health officials lifted a 4-day quarantine. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
All right, we heard from that cruise ship passenger there off the coast of Japan. There's actually a couple from Eva Beach that's on that same ship. We'll be getting updates from them throughout the week. But we want to stick with them. We're going to hear more from that cruise ship passenger in just a second, because Will Ripley talked to her as well. He continues our team coverage, focusing specifically on that cruise ship. You got to check out this story. He did great reporting here.
The death toll from the coronavirus jumps again.
The headlines are grim. Each day seems to bring more bad news.
A grim milestone for the coronavirus.
Often overlooked in the Wuhan coronavirus hysteria, patients like Rebecca Frazier from Oregon.
This is the door.
Frazier is one of a growing number of Americans to test positive for coronavirus on this cruise ship, the Diamond Princess, under quarantine in Yokohama. Japan has coronavirus patients under quarantine at hospitals nationwide, including this one in Tokyo.
We think we know where Rebecca's room is. In fact, there she is. She's standing in the window right now. Rebecca, here we are. Hi. How are you doing?
Turns out she's doing just fine, barely has any symptoms. The majority of coronavirus patients don't end up dead or seriously ill. The majority recover.
Do you know what they're giving you for coronavirus? What kind of treatment they're giving you?
They have not given me any actual medication or any fluids or anything for the virus.
She says the hardest part is being away from her husband, Kent. That's him waving at us from their quarantine cabin. Kent takes his temperature every day. Every day, he still does not have the virus.
So that one was 37.3.
I really don't have that much concern over it right now.
In addition, on the 6 cases.
The number of sick passengers on the Diamond Princess grows by the day, including 2 of their close friends on the ship, a couple they saw up to 5 times a day, both with barely any symptoms.
This fear of, mob mentality sort of fear is just unwarranted.
Rebecca was talking about the people online and the things they were saying.
Just today, I got a message from somebody that said, "Don't come home."
I actually got a couple of really threatening messages. People can be really nasty.
She says they can also be really nice, flooding her phone with messages of love and support, a welcome distraction when she's stuck in a place like this.
If you were going to choose between being on the cruise ship or being in the hospital room, which would you say is the better place to kind of hang out for these next 14 days?
Oh, I would say definitely the cruise ship still.
You'd rather be on the cruise ship?
She says people need to take the virus seriously. They also need to keep things in perspective. This year, Wuhan coronavirus has killed hundreds. Every year, seasonal flu kills hundreds of thousands.
Just take care of yourself, but there's no reason to panic.
And wash those hands.
Wash those hands, absolutely.
The Fraziers say it's time to stop living in fear, even as they live on the front lines of a global health emergency. Will Ripley, CNN, Tokyo.
Wow, that's an incredible report there. And to think that she's getting those messages, that's so inappropriate.
That's unnecessary.
All right, we're still following the world of politics. Big news coming up this week.
Right after the chaos with the Iowa caucuses, New Hampshire will be voting tomorrow under the weight of deepening concerns about enthusiasm within the Democratic Party and glaring flaws in their leading potential candidates. Now, experts say this could be the end for longtime frontrunner, former Vice President Joe Biden, and progressive powerhouse Senator Elizabeth Warren, who cannot afford to fall out of the top two in a second consecutive contest, as Senator Bernie Sanders and South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg aim to secure their places as the new frontrunners.
All right, and for our podcast listeners, we are looking at a graphic provided to us from CBS News. This is polling done right now of New Hampshire voters. These are their first choice for nominee, and right now it shows there's Bernie with 29% of those being polled, and then Mayor Pete right behind him with 25%. And so it's a close race, and that margin of error on that poll is 4%. So could be anyone's game, it looks like. All right, we have new developments coming in from the Middle East.
Right, the Pentagon is reportedly planning to reveal that more than 100 U.S. troops suffered traumatic brain injuries last month after an Iranian missile strike on an Iraqi base. The Pentagon and the White House initially said no one was injured during the attack, but officials later announced a number of service members were diagnosed with injuries. About 200 people were in the blast zone at the time of the attack, which was in retaliation for the second U.S. drone strike that killed a top Iranian general. Now, last month, the president downplayed the severity of the injuries suffered in Iraq, saying he does not consider potential brain injuries to be as serious as physical combat wounds.
All right, this next story looks so interesting and inspiring, especially after watching your report last Wednesday with the honor flight that came here with the vets heading to Pearl Harbor. There's something else in the works, right?
Right, so every year, thousands of veterans take a once-in-a-life trip to our nation's capital, and new technology is making sure no one is left behind. Here's Hillary Lane.
Every year, retired U.S. Navy Admiral Jim Hart leads hundreds of World War II, Korean, and Vietnam vets from Florida to Washington on a free one-day trip called Honor Flight. They visit the memorials built to honor those who served.
They came home. There wasn't a lot of fanfare. They were never really honored for what they have done.
But with many vets now in their 80s and 90s, it's difficult for some to make the trip. So Honor Flight teamed up with Hospice of St. Francis, and with the help of virtual reality, they're making sure every veteran can experience the trip, even if it's from their living room.
We're gonna put these on.
89-year-old John Schultz, who served in the Korean War, was diagnosed with a lung disease and relies on an oxygen tank to breathe, making it impossible to fly. 360-degree 3D video of an Honor Flight trip uploaded to these goggles allows Schultz to take part without ever leaving the ground.
What was it like to put those glasses on and be transported to Washington, D.C. from your couch?
Remarkable, yeah. Yeah, the technology today is overwhelming.
Schultz's daughter, Audrey Robertson, says her father never talked about his service growing up.
It's kind of a memory that's locked away, but I could see it came out today, and that was really special.
John says the experience brought back some powerful emotions like pride and grief.
I lost friends. I had people dying right alongside of me, you know.
It's somewhat cathartic in that it helps them get through the suffering and the pain that they're dealing with now.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Helping veterans like John feel like he's part of the tribute, even if it's from a distance. Hillary Lane, CBS News, Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Inspiring for sure there. To see him standing there with the VR glasses and doing the pledge, I mean, it really gets to your heartstrings.
Yeah, it's so great what the Honor Flight organization does for these veterans. They really should see these memorials dedicated to their service.
I know, yes, last week when the Honor Flight flew here for Pearl Harbor, that parade of vets coming off that Southwest plane, and you guys were there capturing the whole thing. I said last week, it's one of my favorite things Pearl Harbor does is have talk to a vet stand, and you're so lucky to get the opportunity to talk to those guys.
It was very cool, and the ages ranged from 91 to 99, and I mean, most of them were walking.
Whoa.
It was incredible. Yeah.
I hope I'm that way. All right, let's move on to, we have a traffic alert, right?
Back here at home, a traffic alert for those in Windward, Oahu. Crews will begin work on 4 areas along Kamehameha Highway in Ka'aava starting today. Now, the emergency shoreline repairs are being done daily from 7 a.m. until 6:30 p.m. Only one lane of Kamehameha Highway will be open during that time. Now, DOT officials say work is scheduled to last about 2 weeks, and if they have to go longer, they will let us know.
I hadn't seen this new video. It's looking pretty rough up there.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Almost the whole shoulder is gone. There's definitely no room for even a bicycle along the bike lane area, the shoulder area there. It looks like about a 2-foot drop off there where the road's breaking away and the ocean's slowly sneaking up on it. All right, let's go. We have some exciting news here at the H&N Digital team. I had a meeting about this last week, and I'm pumped about something we're going to tell you about right now.
Right, so Blake Wallenda from the famous Wallenda Daredevil family will be performing a skywalk 1 week from today here in Hawaii. He'll be doing it at the Ala Moana Hotel next week Monday at 11 a.m. Wallenda will be walking on a high wire outdoors between 2 points of the hotel on the 14th floor. Now, the event is free and open to the public, and if you want a great view, you just have to park on the top deck of the Ala Moana Shopping Center near Macy's, but you better get there early.
And while it is President's Day, but many of you will have the day off to go out there and check it out. Guess what? If you don't, we're going to be streaming the whole thing live on all our H&N Digital platforms. Ashley will be out there, some folks from Sunrise, so please check it out. We'll be posting the details shortly. Meanwhile, a huge weekend in the world of entertainment.
Oh yeah,
yes.
A big night of firsts at the 92nd Academy Awards. Now, for the first time ever, a foreign language movie won Hollywood's highest honor. Here's Chris Martinez with a wrap from the Oscars.
Parasite. The South Korean social satire Parasite made history at the 92nd Academy Awards, becoming the first film not in the English language to win Best Picture.
We never imagined this to ever happen. We are so happy.
The movie's director, Bong Joon-ho, won Best Director.
Thank you.
Parasite also won Best International Film and Best Original Screenplay. Joker's Joaquin Phoenix won for Best Actor, his first Oscar. He used the podium to speak about animal rights and climate change.
The greatest gift that it's given me, and many of us in this room, is the opportunity to use our voice for the voiceless.
Renee Zellweger took home Best Actress honors for her portrayal of Judy Garland in Judy.
My immigrant folks who came here with nothing but each other and a belief in the American dream. How about this?
Laura Dern won Best Supporting Actress for Marriage Story. Brad Pitt won his first acting Oscar for his performance as a stuntman in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
This year's awards were not without controversy, with many calling out a lack of minority nominees in the acting categories and women nominees for Best Director.
Janelle Monáe opened the show with a musical number, taking a swipe at the lack of female nominees for Best Director.
We celebrate all the women who directed phenomenal films.
Back in 1929, there were no black acting nominees.
No. And now in 2020, we got one.
Former hosts Steve Martin and Chris Rock also called out the Academy for this year's lack of diversity among the acting categories. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Very cool night. For me, I feel like usually in years past, it seems like one movie sort
dominates
of everything, right? And it felt like they did spread the love a little bit this year that way. Yeah. And to see Jane Fonda looking so good and
Renee,
Steve Martin,
yeah, everyone looks so great.
I know, Renee looked great. That dress was stellar. Any other highlights you?
I mean, I can't wait to see Parasite. Have you seen it?
I have not. The only two I've seen Judy, and I just saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I liked them both. Judy, for me, I don't think as an actress she did great. As a movie, it was very like HBO bio flick. It wasn't exactly Oscar movie, but her acting was great in it. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if Parasite beat that, Parasite's got to be awesome.
The trailer is right up my alley. It's
scary,
dark,
right?
and it looks like one of those that has you thinking right after the movie's over for like a long time. You can't just stop thinking about it.
South Korea has some amazing scary movies. I just saw one about, I can't remember the name of it. It was about zombies on a train, though. If you can help me out here, I can't remember the name, but it's amazing. It's on Netflix. All right, guys, let's take you outside where it's still in the low 70s out there. Stay warm, folks. We'll be back here tomorrow on This Is Now. Until then, I'm Jonathan, and this is Ashley alongside me. We'll see you then. Bye.